Hello everybody. My name is Oriane and I am functional consultant at Odoo. The topic of this talk will be product lifecycle management. So let's start with a bit of context. What is product lifecycle management? So this is in fact the process of managing the entire life of a product from inception through engineering design to manufacturing and in the end the launch of the product on the market and the management of its life. So as you can see the on the slide, you have different steps in product lifecycle management. So you have the initiation when you decide what to do. You then have some discussions between lots of different stakeholders which take place when they decide what they want to do, what should be done. There are reviews, validation, and in the end, the product is launched. So the classic flow, most of the time you have some engineers who design what we call the e-BoM. The e-bill of material is in fact a bill of material in which you will have all the components which will be part of the finished product. And it will be quite limited in information. After that, you will have the manufacturing engineers, which will add some information to what we call the manufacturing bill of material. So you will have a bit more information about in which steps of the process, of the manufacturing process, the components will be used, at which work center they will take place, and if you have some additional components which are necessary to make the production but maybe not part of the final product, they could also be added in this bill of material. The objective in the end is to have a worksheet which has been either modified or which is just new, which can be used by your workers, and which explains how to build the product. So all of this will be handled via an engineering change order on which you will have all the information about the different bill of materials, the process, and the changes which should take place. So that's it. But what are the classic issues you can encounter in product lifecycle management when doing it with paper or no integrated solution? So first of all, most of the time you will have simultaneous revision of the bill of materials. So you will have different people working on the side on their own functionalities or specialization. So you could have different engineers working on their own file, making their improvement, and then you will have to get all the information integrated in one file and use it. You also have some difficulties to get the product update history because those people will make the changes from the side, and sometimes if you had some engineering change orders which took place in the past, you still have to go in your file and try to find the information. So it's quite complicated to get input from all the stakeholders, but also the validation, because maybe someone will want to validate only at one specific condition, which is a specific change. And so if someone else validated the version you submitted at first, you have to resubmit a second version. And so you can make different submissions of the change. So the documentation, it's quite complicated. It's split everywhere, and you do not have everything at one place. You don't really have a global view of what is happening. So you know that the file is somewhere, that it's being worked on, but you don't know exactly at this specific moment where we are. And once you finally agreed on the changes, you still have to implement it in your manufacturing solution so that they get applied in real life. So what we will see together is how to avoid encountering those pitfalls by using the product lifecycle management solution of Odoo. So this is our homepage of Odoo 12, and you see here the product lifecycle management application. If I enter it, I see that at the moment I have only one type of engineering change order, which is a new product introduction. I can go in it and I can create one engineering change order. So I will change the color of my car. So I am a car manufacturer, I want to change the color and the chassis. So what I will do, I will apply changes on both the bill of material and the routing of my product. So I can save and I start a new revision. I here get the information about the product I am modifying, its bill of material, and the specific routing it is following. So on the product itself, you get information about the reference, the category, so the classic information. The bill of material, it's what we discussed before. It will be mainly the components which are used to build the product. And in the end, the routing gives you information about the different steps in which the product will go and at which specific work center they will take place. So on my engineering change order, I can update the documents. I can decide to create one, which will be called initial requirements, for example. I can upload one file. So I will just take one PDF, I save, and I see that I can easily download it if I want. So if I go back to my engineering change order, I can now put it in progress because I have all the information to start working on it. So as you can see, all the attachments you will add will be easy to find back by all the users of the app. What is also useful is that you have followers of the engineering change order. So all the person who followed the file will directly receive your email and your changes, and can you send a message from the chatter. If you want to communicate only with one specific colleague, you can also decide to log a note and say, "Hi, painting manager, what do you think for the color?" You can log the note, and normally your colleague will then receive a notification saying that I sent him a message to communicate with him. So I can directly communicate with my colleagues and I get direct notifications. So once everything is set in place, you can decide to update your bill of materials or your routing. I will start with the bill of material and I will edit it. So I will change my paint. I will take the second red because the first one is not trendy anymore, and the same for my chassis. So when I do so, I see that those changes are not applied yet in production. The bill of material is still in an archive stage, so it means it allows me to work on it, to make modification, and only decide to apply them later. I also easily see that I am in the second version of the bill of material so that I can track on which one I am working at the moment. So if I come back here, I see I now have a BoM changes tab, which allows me to see directly all the modifications which have been done through this engineering change order. I can also decide to update the routing, because now that I use another chassis, I have to change the assembly line at which it is added. So I will just take the assembly line 2 for this step also, and I will save my changes. So those one will also apply in the routing changes in this tab. So you really keep track of all the changes you decide to apply on both the bill of material and the routing, and they are easy to find by everybody. So now we are okay on what I did, and I decide to put it in the validation stage. According to the configuration I made, I need to get 2 different approvals. So the first one is from my painting manager. I just want him to comment what has been done. And the second one should be done by my R&D director. If I want to validate the engineering change order, at the moment I cannot, because I still require my approvals. So I can go on my painting manager, go to my PLM application, and I see that I have one validation to make. If I do so, I come and I am able to comment. I can log a note. If I go back here and I refresh my page, I will directly see that I got the comment from my colleague. So it has been commented. I cannot go on my R&D director profile, and I will also find that I have one validation to make, and I can approve the change which has been done. So once it's approved, I cannot go back to my initial profile, and I will be able to put it in the validated stage. So as you see, it has been validated. We agreed on the changes, but they are not in production yet. What I will do just before applying them is creating a new engineering change order. So second change, I want to change my bill of material. I will just select the same product. I will save and start a new revision. So that's only to show you how it works when you have two simultaneous engineering change orders which are working. So if I go back here, I decide to apply the changes. Now, if I create a new manufacturing order, all of those changes will be added. If I come back here, I will see that I now have a apply rebase button which appeared. In fact, it's telling me that there were some previous changes which took place and that were not added yet here. So it's telling me, hey, you're not working on the last version, so you should just update it to make sure you take all the previous changes into account. So what I can do is that I can apply rebase, and Odoo will directly suggest me to work on the third version, already considering the last bill of material which has been created. If I go to my manufacturing application and I create a manufacturing order, so I will create one for my car, I save, and I can see that it has directly applied the changes which has been made in production for the ECO I was working on. If I plan it, I will also see that the new work center has been well taken into account. So everything, once you make the changes effective, is directly applied, and the next work orders you will create, the next manufacturing order, will take them into account. So I will just go through the different benefits that we have seen together in order to highlight them. So first of all, it's quite easy to know in which version of the bill of material you're working, because first of all, you directly see it on the engineering change order. You also have the information on the bill of material, and in case you're not working on the last version of the bill of material, you see the apply rebase button, which directly appears once changes have been made effective since you started this specific engineering change order. Besides that, you have then the smart buttons to keep information about the version, but you also have the whole history of the product. So you could easily go into your engineering change orders, filter on the product itself, and you will see all the ones which have been made for this specific product. So you can easily find information in Odoo. You also easily warn the different followers of your change order. Just by sending them an email or logging them a note, you can communicate with your colleagues, which is quite easy for the approvals, because if someone makes a comment, does not agree with the change you suggested, the next person who will come to approve will directly see the comment and know that they are validating the last version. So if some changes should take place or already took place, since you asked them to validate, they will directly see them and validate the last version. You also have the document management, so all the documents which should be used in order to put the change into production are on the ECO, and they can be documented. So everybody could add a new document. You will be able to download it, read it, in order to know why they made the change or know more about the product, the new component they suggest. So the visibility, you always see in which stage you are in your Kanban view, so in your pipeline of ECOs. So if the one is in progress, you know people are still working on it. If it's in a validation stage, theoretically, everything has already been done and you just need to validate. If you should go back to in progress because you still have some changes to make, you can easily move the ECO from one stage to the other one. And in the end, once you decided to apply the changes into production, you just have to click Apply Effective Changes, and the next manufacturing order you will create with the new bill of material, the new routing, will directly be correct. So as soon as you decide it, it's set in production. So that's it for me. I don't know if you have any specific questions about what we have seen, or points I would not have seen and you would like to know about. Yeah? No, so all the manufacturing orders will be in the last version of the bill of material. Yeah. Yeah. No, not on the manufacturing orders. You could still make a new ECO and make the changes back, but then it will be applying all the different bill of materials, so you will only keep one. Yeah. So you don't have the information in the MRP app, but normally you could put an effectivity date, what I did not do, but here you can decide to put it in production as soon as possible. You could also put a date to just track the information. So this is something you can find in this app. And I mean, if you put directly in effective as soon as you apply the changes, you could normally, I have to check, but yes, you could normally see in the chatter at least when it has been set to effective. So you still get the information, but you have to find a bit for it. So in fact, the documents are not directly on the bill of material itself. It stays on the ECO. Ah. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. No, you won't have, so the attachment app, I think, is not integrated directly with the PLM. So the documents you set, I would just check, here will remain here. Yeah, yeah, but in the bill of material itself, I don't have any document. And I just did not add the attachment module here, but they won't be transmitted to the bill of material. It really remains at the level of the ECO itself. But if I will just go here. On the bill of material themselves, you don't have the documentation. You just see all the ECOs which were related to it, and so you can just find the information back. Yeah, indeed. But yes, there is something else. It's you can update the document in the work centers themselves. So if you update the working documents for your workers, it will be a change. I did not do it here, but in the routing. And so if you want to add some steps in the routing, and I will just, and here add a description of a worksheet, then you can upload them, and then they will be used in the bill of material. But that's really related to the work of your workers in the production area, and not about the ECO itself. And so that's a different kind of document management. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it won't be directly on the product, but you will be able to look for it in the PLM app itself. But you will have to look for the right ECO, and you won't have it directly on the product. So the documentation will always have to be found in the ECO themselves. If you want, we can also discuss about it right after, and I can check with my colleague who is in charge of the app. Okay. Yeah.
Is there a way to have the tool to update the product description to the product?
Oh, yeah. So when you modify the bill of material, that's something I did not show, but you always have the structure and cost, which is adapted according to what you did. And I think there is one specific module, I never remember the name, which allows you to update cost according to the bill of material directly on the product. I did not test it, so I don't know if it's updated automatically, but in any cases, once it's put in production, you can click on the update cost button, and it will take the cost of the new bill of material. But I did not make the test to know if it was updated directly.
It's new for version
I think that's an app you can add. I can check the name if you want. I think it was already there before. No? Ah, yeah, thanks. So, yes, that's this one which computes the cost from the bill of material. So you can try, add it, and make the test. Okay. You're welcome. Thanks. An existing manufacturing order. No, you will have to just wait for all of them to be done or cancel them and create them with a new bill of material. You mean the ones which are done? Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I fully understand. At the moment, it's not possible yet, but what I suggest you to do is to make a feedback. Just send a ticket to our support saying, okay, in lots of cases, it would be useful. And if we get several times this kind of feedback, our product owner can take them into account and improve the app for the next versions. Thanks. Any other question? Okay, so thank you.